Now the first question that you had was the line joining A 1,6 and B 5,-2 is divided into 4 equal parts by PQR in that order. Now when you are dividing into 4 equal parts, remember what will be the ratio? 1:1:1:1. Now if you remember point of trisection, similarly you can solve whenever it's divided into 4 equal parts, 5 equal parts, it does not matter. Two ways we can do it. One is, if this is 1, this entire thing will be 3. So we can take that point P is dividing in the ratio 1:3. Same way we can take R, point R is dividing in the ratio 1:3. But a very easier and faster method would be, first I'll find the coordinates of point Q. Why? Because Q is dividing in the ratio 2:2. 2:2 is nothing but ratio 1:1. 2:2 can be written as 2/2, right? So 2/2 is 1. So what ratio is Q dividing? 1:1, which means Q is the midpoint. So we can find coordinates of point Q using midpoint formula. So now what will be the x coordinate of point Q? x1 plus x2, that is 1 plus 5/2, that is 6/2, that is 3. So we got x coordinate as 3. What will be the y coordinate? y1 plus y2/3, that is 6 plus of -2, -2. So 6 minus 2/2, that is 6 minus 2 is 4, 4/2, 2. So we directly got coordinates of Q. Now what about P? See here, these two parts are dividing in the ratio 1:1, which means P is midpoint. Again using midpoint formula, we can find the coordinates of P. So what will be the coordinates of P? X coordinate of P, x1 plus x2. So 1 plus 3/2. So that is 4/2. So that is 2. So this will be 2. What about y coordinate? Again y1 plus y2, that is 6 plus 2, 8. 8/2, 4. So we get 4. Now again if you see R, it divides QB in the ratio 1:1, which means R is midpoint of QB. So finding coordinates of, how much is this? 2, right? Okay. So R is midpoint of QB. Again we can use midpoint formula and find the value of R. So x coordinate will be x1 plus x2, that is 3 plus 5, 8. 8/2, 4. And y coordinate will be y1 plus y2, that is 2 plus of -2. 2 minus 2, 0/2, that is 0. So we got the coordinates just by using midpoint formula. It is very quick. Otherwise you could have used this as well, but it would have been a long method. Now the second question, they have told you to find the coordinates of A, where AB is the diameter of a circle with center C 2, -3. Very easy problem. How will you find A? Now first of all, this is the diameter, which means the center will be the midpoint. Why? Because this side is equal to this side. Both are radius. And since it's a diameter, it's a straight line. So C is the center. So this is the midpoint. So we know coordinates of midpoint, we know coordinates of one end, which means we can find coordinates of the other end. Simple. So let coordinates be x and y. So now midpoint formula, what is it? X coordinate of midpoint equal to x1 plus x2/2. So what is the x coordinate of midpoint? 2 equal to x1, that is x, plus x2, that is 1/2. Now I'll transpose to this side, it becomes 2 into 2, 4 equal to x plus 1. So x equal to 4 minus 1, plus 1 becomes -1. So x equal to 3. So we got coordinate of x as 3. Similarly y coordinate, y coordinate of midpoint is -3. What is y coordinate of midpoint? y1 plus y2/2. So y1 plus y2/2. When I transpose this side, it becomes -3 into 2. So -6 equal to y plus 4. So when I transpose 4 on that side, it becomes -6 minus 4 equal to y. So y equal to -10. So what is the y coordinate? -10. So what are the coordinates of A? 3, -10. Alright guys, the third question, they have asked you to find the ratio in which this point -3, k divides the line joining A and B. So now we have to find the ratio in which it divides, which means we'll assume the ratio to be A is to 1. I'll not take the variable as k. Why? Because we already have k over here as the unknown. So I'll take some other variable, that is a is to 1. So we assume let the ratio be a is to 1. Now all we have to do is apply section formula. So here y coordinate is not there, so we'll be using x coordinate. So what is x coordinate for section formula? M into x2, that is a into x2, that is minus 2, plus n into x1, that is 1 into minus 5 by m plus n, right? Transposing this over there, you get a plus 1 equal to minus 2a minus 5, right? So plus into minus, that's how I got minus 5. Now opening the brackets, minus 3a minus 3 equal to minus 2a minus 5. Now I'll get a terms on one side, rest on the other. So I get minus 3a plus 2a equal to minus 5 plus 3. So I get minus a equal to minus 2. So a is equal to 2, right? We got a as 2. So what will be the ratio? 2 can be written as 2 by 1. So the ratio is 2 is to 1. If I had got something like 2 by 3, what would be the ratio? 2 is to 3. If I had got 2 by 5, ratio would have been 2 is to 5. But since we got a as only 2, the ratio is 2 is to 1. So now we have found the ratio. Now we can find the value of k. K is the y coordinate. So y coordinate equal to m y2, that is 2 into 3 plus n y1, that is 1 into minus 4 by m plus n. So we get k equal to 6 minus 4 by 3. So k is 2 by 3. Guys, now the next question they have given is find the lengths of the medians of triangle ABC, where they have given coordinates for A, B and C. So what is median? If you remember from triangles, median is a line which divides the opposite side into two equal parts, which means this will be the midpoint. Let this be P, Q, R. Alright. So how do we, now to find the length of medians, we need to know AP, the coordinates of A and P, B and Q and C and R. But we do not know the coordinates of P, Q, R. How do we find them? Since this is a median, this side is equal to this side, which means P is the midpoint. So using midpoint formula, we can find the coordinates of P. So x coordinate will be x1 plus x2, that is 2 plus 0 by 2, that is 1. And y2 will be y1 plus y2, that is 1 plus 3 by 2, 4 by 2, that is 2. Similarly, Q is also, BQ is median, so Q will be midpoint of AC. So how do we find x coordinate of Q? x1 plus x2, 0 plus 0 by 2, 0. And y coordinate is y1 plus y2, 3 plus of minus 1, 3 minus 1, 2, 2 by 2, 1. See, I am not doing it because finding midpoint formula, midpoints are very easy. You can almost do it orally, but you guys don't do the same thing in the exam. Make sure you write and show how you got it. Alright. Since these modules are just for your understanding, I am doing it because I am sure you know how to find midpoints. Similarly, R is midpoint of AB. So x1 plus x2 by 2, that is 2 plus 0 by 2, 2 by 2, 1. And y coordinate will be y1 plus y2, that is 1 plus of minus 1, 1 minus 1, 0, 0 by 2, 0. So now we got the midpoints. Now how do we find length of median? We just have to find distance AP. All we have to do is use distance formula. So AP equal to root of x2 minus x1. So 1 minus 0 whole square plus y2 minus y1. 2 minus of minus 1. 2 minus of minus 1 whole square. So what do we get? Root of 1 minus 0, 1. 1 square is 1 plus 3. 2 minus of minus 1. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 square is 9. So answer is root 10 units. You always have to write distance like this. Remember, if they have not told you whether it's centimeter or anything, you have to write root 10 units. Otherwise, chances are you will lose marks. Similarly, BQ. Again applying distance formula. x2 minus x1 whole square. So 0 minus 2 whole square plus y2 minus y1. 1 minus 1 whole square. Sorry, 1 minus 1 whole square. So we get 0 minus 2 whole square, that is plus 4 and 1 minus 1 0, 0 square is 0. So we get 4 plus 0, root of 4 plus 0, that is root 4, that is 2 units. And similarly to find CR, again using distance formula, x2 minus x1, that is 1 minus 0 whole square, plus y2, that is 0, y2 minus y1, 0 minus 3 whole square. So what do we get? 1 minus 0 is 1, 1 square is 1, plus 0 minus 3 minus 3, minus 3 square is plus 9. So again we get root 10 units. So what are the lengths of medians? Root 10 and 2. Alright guys, the next question, they have said A, B, C, D are vertices of a parallelogram and we are supposed to find the values of A and B. Now again remember to put it in a cycle, which side, whether you start from here, 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 it doesn't matter, it just has to be in a cycle, whether clockwise or anti-clockwise. But I normally start from here because most of the problems you would see explained, they'll start the value of A from here. So I am also starting from there. But it doesn't really matter which coordinate you first take as A, as long as it's in a cycle. Now again, in this, we can use distance formula and find the values of A and B. But which is a quicker thing? We know diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. So if we find coordinates of this point, let it be O, then like if we know coordinates of this point, we can find coordinates of values of A and B easily. Now see here X is unknown. So to find X coordinate of midpoint, I'll take this line because in this line X is one of the points, X is unknown. But in this line, we know the values of X for both. Now since this is midpoint, we use midpoint formula to find the value of X. So X1, that is 5 plus X2, that is 1, X1 plus X2 by 2. So 5 plus 1 by 2, 6 by 2, that is 3. So using midpoint formula for this line, we found X value. Now to find Y value, can we use this? No. Why? Because Y value for this point is not known. So we'll use this line to find the Y coordinate. Here Y coordinate of both are known. So what is the Y coordinate? Y1 plus Y2. So minus 11 plus 15 by 2, that is plus 4 by 2, that is 2. Now we have got the midpoint, right? The point of intersection of diagonals. So the property you remember, diagonals bisect each other, which means this equal to this equal to this, hence this is the midpoint. Now we got midpoint, now we can find A. So taking this line, X coordinate of midpoint, that is 3, is equal to X1 plus X2, that is A plus 2 by 2. Now if I transpose 2 on that side, it becomes 3 into 2, 6 equal to A plus 2. So A equal to 6 minus 2, that is 4. So we got the value of A as 4. Similarly in this line, Y coordinate is 2. What is the, how do we find Y coordinate of midpoint? Y1 plus Y2 by 2. So B plus 1 by 2. So transposing, I get 2 into 2, 4 equal to B plus 1. So B is equal to, plus 1 becomes minus 1, 4 minus 1, 3. So value of A is 4 and B is 3. Alright guys, the next question they have asked, in what ratio does the x-axis? So let the point on x-axis be P, which will be equal to x comma 0. Any point on x-axis can be written as x comma 0 because y coordinate is always 0 on x-axis. So in what ratio does this point divide the line joining A and B? So since we have to find in what ratio, we'll assume the ratio to be k is to 1. Now to find the value of k, to find k, here x coordinate is not known, but we know y coordinate is 0 for the point. So using y coordinate formula, so y coordinate of the point which is dividing a line, that so y coordinate is 0 equal to m into y2, that is k into 7 plus n into y1, that is y1 into minus 3 by m plus n, right? So if I transpose this, it becomes 0 into k plus 1, which is nothing but 0. So we get 7k minus 3 equal to 0. So k equal to minus 3 becomes, okay, 7k equal to minus 3 becomes plus 3. So k equal to 3 by 7. So since we got k equal to 3 by 7, what is the ratio? 3 by 7 by 1, that is 3 by 7. So ratio is 3:7. So we got the ratio as 3:7. Now since we know the ratio, we can find x coordinate. What is x coordinate of the point dividing a line? M into x1, x2, that is 3 into minus 2 plus n into x1, that is 7 into 3 by m plus n. So we get 3 into minus 2, minus 6 plus 21 by 10. So we get 15 by 10. So 5 3s are and 5 2s are. So what is the x coordinate? 3 by 2. Since I've got a fraction, I'll check again. M into x2, 3 into minus 2 plus n into x1, that is 7 into 3 by 3 plus 7. So this is correct. So the coordinate, x coordinate is 3 by 2. Alright guys, now the next question that I've given you is, in triangle ABC, the midpoints of BC. Be careful when you, I hope you are careful when you are doing the problem, because generally they give you midpoints in the order AB, BC and CD. But here, CA. Here they have started with midpoint of BC, which is D 3, 4, midpoint of CA, which is E 8, 9, and midpoint of AB, which is 6, 7. And they have asked us to find the vertices. So now there are totally 6 unknowns, which means we need 6 equations. We'll see if we can find them. So first thing is D is midpoint of BC, right? So what will be the value? X coordinate 3 will be equal to x1 plus x2. So in this case it is x2 plus x3 by 2, right? x1, in this case x1 is x2 and x2 is x3. So this x coordinate plus this x coordinate by 2 will give you 3. So transposing, I get x2 plus x3 as 6. 2 into 3 is 6. So this is our one equation we got. Similarly, for x coordinate of this, what is x coordinate of that midpoint? This is midpoint. So x coordinate is equal to this plus this. So we get x1 plus x3 by 2. So we get x1 plus x3 equal to 2 into 8, 16. So this is the second equation we got. And for this, x coordinate of midpoint is 6. So that is equal to this x coordinate plus this x coordinate, that is x1 plus x2 by 2. So I get x1 plus x2 equal to 12. So now we have got 3 equations for x coordinates, and there are 3 unknowns for x coordinate, that is x1, x2, x3. Now I can do it many ways. I'll use substitution formula. We have got x1 plus x2 equal to 12. So x1 equal to 12 minus x2. This is what we get, right? This is what we get. This is our fourth thing that we got. So x1 equal to 12 minus x2. So x1 is equal to 12 minus x2. I'll substitute it here. Also here what do we get? x2 equal to 6 minus x3. That is what we get over here. So this is our fifth thing we found. Now substituting this and this in this equation. So what is x1? 12 minus x2. And what is x3 plus x3? That is, okay, sorry, we have to find for x3. So what do we get? x3 is equal to 6 minus x2 over here, right? So x3 is 6 minus x2 from there. So we get plus 6 minus x2 equal to 16. Understood guys what I have done? I have put x1 and x3 from these two equations in terms of x2, and I have substituted these two things in this equation. So I get only one unknown in this equation, that is x2. So 12 plus 6, 18 minus x2 minus 2x2 equal to 16. So minus 2x2 equal to 16 minus 18. So minus 2x2 equal to minus 2. Minus minus sign cancels. So x2 becomes 2 by 2. That is 1. So we found the coordinate of x2. That is 1. Now substituting in this equation, x3. What do we get? x3 equal to 6 minus x2. That is 1. So x3 is equal to 5. So we get x3 equal to 5. And substituting in this equation the value of x2, we get x1 equal to 12 minus 1. So x1 equal to 11. So we got this as 11. So now we have found values of x1, x2 and x3 using these three formulas. Similarly, we'll find values of y1, y2 and y3. So now we'll form equations with y3. So this is midpoint of BC. So y coordinate, that is 4, will be equal to y1 plus y2, that is y2 plus y3 over here by 2. When I transpose, I get y2 plus y3 equal to 4 into 2, 8. This is our, okay, we can write it this way also. So now what do we have? y3 equal to 8 minus y2. So this is our first equation. Now taking this, y coordinate is 9 equal to y1 plus y2, that is y1 plus y3 in this case, so by 2. So we get y1 plus y3 equal to 9 into 2, 18. This is our second equation. And from this point, y coordinate 7 is equal to y2 plus y1, that is y1 plus y2 by 2. So we get y1 plus y2 equal to 7 into 2, 14, which means y1 equal to 14 minus y2. This is the third equation. Now substituting third and first one in the second one. What is y1? 14 minus y2 plus what is y3? 8 minus y2 equal to 18, right? So we substituted these two in this. So we got only one unknown, that is y2. So 14 plus 8, 22 minus 2y2 equal to 18. So minus 2y2 equal to 18 minus 22. So minus 2y2 equal to minus 4. Minus minus sign cancels. So what will be y2? 4 by 2, that is 2. So we found the value of y2, that is 2. Now substituting value of y2 in this, we get y3 equal to 8 minus 2. So y3 equal to 6. So we got y3 equal to 6. And similarly, substituting value of y2 in this, we'll get y1 equal to 14 minus 2. So y1 equal to 12. So we got values of y1. So what are the coordinates of A, B and C? 11, 12, 1, 2 and 5, 6. Okay guys, the next question. They had told you 3, 2 and minus 1, 0 are adjacent sides of a parallelogram. You could have taken these two, you could have taken these two, you could have taken these two, you could have taken these two. So any two adjacent sides you could have taken, it wouldn't have mattered. Then they said 2, minus 5 is the point of intersection of the diagonals. So point of intersection of diagonals is 2, minus 5. You have to find the other two vertices. Let this be x1, y1 and let this be x2, y2. Very simple problem. Since this is point of intersection, this is midpoint of this line as well as midpoint of this line. So using midpoint formula, you can find the values of x1, y1 and x2, y2. So how do I find x? I'll take this line. So x coordinate, which is 2, which is the midpoint, is equal to x1 plus x2. So minus 1 plus x1 by 2. X coordinate of this plus x coordinate of this by 2. So transposing, I get 4 equal to minus 1 plus x1. So when I take transpose minus 1, it becomes plus 1. So I get 5 equal to x1. So we got the value as 5. Similarly, to find y coordinate, what is y coordinate of midpoint? Minus 5, which is equal to y1 plus y2. So 0 plus y1 by 2. So when I transpose, I get minus 5 into 2, that is minus 10 equal to y1. So 0 plus y1, y1. So y1 equal to minus 10. So we have found this coordinate. Similarly, we will find this coordinate using this line. What is x coordinate of midpoint? 2, which is x1 plus x2. So 3 plus x2 by 2. So I get 4 equal to 3 plus x2. So x2 equal to plus 3 will become minus 4. 4 minus 3, 1. So this is 1. Similarly, for y coordinate is minus 5. So y1 plus y2, that is 2 plus y2 by 2. So I get minus 10 equal to 2 plus y2. 2 into minus 5. So when I transpose, I get minus 10 minus 2 equal to y2. So y2 equal to minus 12. So I got this as minus 12. And we found the other two vertices, 5 comma minus 10 and 1 comma minus 12. Alright guys, now the last problem. They have told you triangle PQR is an equilateral triangle, which means all sides are equal. They have said QR lies on the x-axis, which means the y-coordinate for point R will be 0. Alright, and they have said origin, which is 0, 0 is midpoint of QR, and they have given us Q. So now using this midpoint, we can find the value of x1. We don't have to find y1. Why? Because it's lying on x-axis, so y will also already be 0. So how do I find x1? Since this is midpoint, what is the x-coordinate of midpoint? 0 equal to x1, that is minus 4 plus x1 by 2. When I transpose 2 into 0, 0. So minus 4 plus x1 equal to 0 I get. So x1 equal to 4. So we got x1, which is 4. So now we know coordinates of R, which is 4 comma 0, and we know coordinates of Q, which is minus 4 comma 0. Now to find x2 and y2, they have said it's an equilateral triangle, which means this distance, this side will be equal to this side. So we have to use distance formula here. So PQ will be equal to PR. PQ will be equal to PR. Applying distance formula, root of x2 minus x1, that is x2 minus 4 whole square, plus y2 minus y1, that is y2 minus 0 whole square. So this will be equal to root of x2 minus x1, so that is x2 minus 4 whole square, plus y2 minus y1, that is y2 minus 0 whole square. Right? Sorry, it is here, it is x2 minus of minus 4. Sorry, I made that mistake. x2 minus of minus 4 whole square. Now if I square, both are whole roots. If I square on both sides, the roots will cancel when I square on both sides. So what do I get? x2 plus 4 whole square plus y2 square equal to x2 minus 4 whole square plus y2 square. So plus y2 square will cancel. Why? Because plus, when it comes this side, it becomes minus. So y2 square minus y2 square is 0. So now applying a plus b whole square formula. Please guys, don't be in a hurry and write it as x2 square plus 16. It is of the form a plus b whole square. So you have to use a plus b whole square formula. So a square plus b square plus 2ab, that is 8x2, will be equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab, so minus 8x2. So x2 square will cancel again. Why? Because when this comes this side, it becomes minus. So minus x2 square plus x2 square 0. Now I'll transpose minus 8x2 this side and plus 16 that side. So what do I get? 8x2 minus 8x2 becomes plus 8x2 equal to 16 minus plus 16 becomes minus 16. So I get 16x2 equal to 0. So x2 equal to 0 by 16, that is 0. So now we found the coordinate for x2. Now to find value of y2, again we have to use distance formula. What do we have? This side is equal to this side, right? So QR is equal to PR again, right? So now we can find this distance. We know coordinates of both Q and R. So we'll use this side is equal to this side. So what do we get? What is QR? Root of x2 minus x1, that is 4 minus minus 4 whole square, plus y2 minus y1, 0 minus 0 whole square equal to PR. Again, now what is PR? x2 minus x1, that is 4 minus 0 whole square, plus y2 minus y1, so 0 minus y2 whole square. Now here also it's whole square, here also whole square, so I'll square on both sides. When we square on both sides, square root and square root will cancel. What do we get? 4 minus of minus 4, 4 plus 4, that is 8 square, plus 0 minus 0, 0 square, equal to 4 minus 0, 4 square, plus 0 minus y2 minus y2 whole square plus y2 whole square, minus y2 into minus y2 plus y2, right? So plus y2 whole square. So now 8 square is 64, plus 0 is 0, 16 16 plus y2 square. So taking 16 this side, I get 64 minus 16 equal to y2 square. 64 minus 16, 54, 48 equal to y2 square. So y2 equal to root of 48. This is not your final answer. We have to simplify this. So 48, doing prime factorization, 24, 2s are 12, 2s are 6, 2s are 3, 3s are 1. Now we have one pair of 2 and another pair of 2. So these two 2's become 1, 2 each. So what will come out? 2 into 2. That is 4. What will remain inside? Root 3. So what is the coordinate of y? 2. What is the y coordinate of p? 4 root 3. So we got coordinate of r and